welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I apologise for the lighting, the sun just seems to have gone behind a cloud, so it's making it very dark in here because I'm just using like the natural lighting. Today I'm doing a video all about my carpal tunnel. If you hear some noise in the background, my daughter is in here playing Xbox. Basically I know a lot of people have it, or because of working from home they might be getting it. But I just kind of wanted to talk about my experience and what's happening with mine. Basically when I was pregnant I had a carpal tunnel. It happens quite often when you're pregnant, and I had it in both hands. I started getting it in one hand, so I'd wear a splint, I think it was the right hand, and then eventually as I got more pregnant I wore splint on both hands. I mean, it wasn't that bad. My hands would kind of get tingly and stuff, but I just had to be careful. Like if I was sat on the sofa, I couldn't put my arm on the armrest because then it might make my hand go funny and stuff like that. So it wasn't a massive deal. And at work, because I was on the computers, I wore this, which was quite difficult to do it, but yeah, I wore a splint. Then a couple years later, when I wasn't pregnant, they found out that I had it again, but I kind of just learnt, like when I was pregnant, like not to put my arm up, keep my arm low, and not put it like above my heart, like so have my arm like this because it would go funny. So I kind of just learnt to do that, and they suggested that obviously if it doesn't improve, especially with a splint, that I have to go back and get an injection. Recently, since lockdown, obviously I've been doing little bits anyway, but I think my walking stick is probably one of the biggest things that have made it a lot worse, which hopefully I was meant to be transferred, well I was transferred to the hospital and to have an appointment, but because everything kicked off, it was literally the end of May, it was the last day of March that I was meant to have it, but then that's when everything pretty much closed and got cancelled, so I couldn't go to it. And I was meant to be doing a walking assessment where I can basically have a different stick that might help with my wrist. There's one that kind of fits in your palm, so I don't really know on that, so I'm going to have to wait. But this time everything is completely different for the carpal tunnel. Basically we was decorating the bathroom, so it's been since then, so probably what, 3 weeks into lockdown, and how long have we been in lockdown now? So it's been at least 3 months. My finger went numb. So the tip of my finger here, and then probably just about halfway down here, it's numb. I can feel it, but to a point. If anyone's had like a C-section or anything like that, or I had ejection where it's numb, like even when you're like with your mouth and stuff, where you can feel it, so if you tap it you can feel it, but if you pinch it, it doesn't hurt, you can just feel yourself touching it. That's what it's like here, so I can feel it, but because I keep thinking, oh, I've got my feeling back, but then like I touch the other side, or if I pinch it, I'm like, no, it's still not where it's meant to be. So that's the first thing that happened, and because it was a little bit swollen, and because I was decorating, the doctor wanted to be certain that it wasn't an infection, because I've had it before. I had it once before with this hand when I was decorating. I woke up the next day, my finger was swollen and I had to have my rings cut off, and because my finger got infected because of the paint, kind of got in. So basically they're worried about that happening. So I was put on antibiotics for 4 days, and they said after the antibiotics, if it's still not better, then I need to call up again. So that's what I did. It didn't improve, so I called up again and they said it sounds like carpal tunnel, because I mentioned I had it in the past, and I was worried about the feeling. Because I know sometimes with nerves, if something happens to them, they can be damaged. So I was worried that because I couldn't feel my finger, if my nerves would be damaged. So he said that to wear a splint, or like just wear a splint all the time, and yeah, go from there basically, and wait until I can have an injection. Either wait until the splint stops working, or if that doesn't work, have an injection. So I went back to the doctors and basically said, I've worn the splint, it's still not improved, what do I do now? And basically they wanted me to go in this time instead of a phone call, because they were, because I was wearing the splint for several weeks, that they wanted to make sure that I wasn't losing muscle in my hand and I still had my strength, and go over a few exercises to help with carpal tunnel. So that's what she did, and she said my muscle's completely fine. She said that I should get my sensation in my finger back, but the splint obviously isn't working. I started wearing the splint just a few days after my mum broke her shoulder, and that's been 8 weeks. So I've been wearing this for 8 weeks now, which is a long time. It's meant to be working within 4 weeks, and that doctor has said to me, do not take it off at all. The only time I take it off is if I need to change it and shower, basically. She said that anything else that I do, and if it requires water, especially like washing the pots and things because your wrists are bent different ways, I have to wear a glove. So now I have to wash pots with a glove on, which is quite painful with this on, but also with carpal tunnel anyway, so I can't take it off whatsoever. She also said that that probably isn't going to do the job, because I have lost feeling, that I probably do need the injection, but even then they are unsure whether or not that will work. And basically last week, was it? I was talking to my mum on my phone. I was talking to my mum over the phone, and I was saying that recently my thumb here has started being quite tingly and going quite numb, but it was on and off all the time. And I said to her, like, now it's gone all numb, and then I said, like, if I scrape my knee with it, like on my like trousers, it will just feel dead weird, like especially when I scrape it like pins and needles without, like, you know how you're just getting out of pins and needles and your fingers all still numb and tingly and you can't feel it and whatnot. It's like that. So I just thought, oh, it'd probably go away again. The next day it was still numb, so pretty much from that morning to the next day it was numb, and I was like, right, it's not going back now. So I rang the doctors up and I was like, my thumb's going. So I said, I've lost feeling from my tip to this side, that side's fine, this side, and then the tip down here, it's gone completely numb. And I do get a lot of pain like at the bottom of my thumb, and I've been getting a lot in my wrist as well. He basically said that he'll do the injection, which is actually a week today. I'm going to vlog it as well, so I'm debating about whether to take the camera with me whilst I get it done. So I want to show that as well, so if anyone has been told they need the injection or debating about getting it, I'm going to vlog it because I've never had the injection in my wrist before. I've had it in my muscle, which did not hurt at all, but this part is not as tender as this part, so we're going to have to see how that goes. He basically said that I'm not going to get it, well, he basically said that I'm not just going to have the injection and it'll be fixed. He said it's not going to work like that. He said that I probably need multiple injections before it works, and he basically said to me that I can have one and then I'll probably have to go back 6 weeks later, and if when I go back there is no improvement or it's not lasted 6 weeks, like with my shoulder it lasted a week, then they will not do it again and they'll take me straight to refer to the hospital for surgery. Because obviously it's getting silly now that I lost two feelings in 2 fingers, or thumb and a finger. My worry is just that it gets to my whole hand. But probably not these fingers, but you know, these. So yeah, that is it at the minute. So a few things that I found that's helpful. I have definitely found the splint helps. Sometimes my wrist can be very achy, like last night I was taking my splint on and off because it was aching me, so then I'd like massage it where it was aching and then it would be fine, but then I kept thinking it was the splint that was causing it to ache, so I'd massage it, leave it, and then it was starting to ache again and hurt, so then I put my splint back on because I realised it's not the splint that's making it ache, it's just my wrist that's aching. And I have found that I've got more freedom with this. So without it, I struggled to like bend and use my fingers and my hand because it could hurt. But with this, yes, it can still hurt doing some things, but I'm actually got more freedom wearing a splint now. Things that are quite difficult for me is holding things like a pen, chopping things with a knife, stirring things. Like, I'm like a kid when I stir. Instead of like stirring it like this, especially because I've got to lift my arm up because I can't bend my wrist, I'm now stirring like this. And washing the pots can be quite difficult as well. So I've just kind of like I've got one of those, my mum bought me one of those, what are called, the sticks that you put the washing up liquid in with these little sponges on the end. I've got one of those, which It can hurt my thumb sometimes, but I just have to change position. So I can wash books like this, or then I'll change it like this position and wash them like that. So there is a few things that I've kind of learnt that a little bit easier, the way I hold things. But I took it off once, and when I self-tanned, I took it off and left it off for 3 hours so I could self-tan. So yeah, I had it off for about 3 hours, then I probably shouldn't have. Just trying to use my phone was a nightmare. So like holding it like this was just really painful on my thumb. So yeah, I probably shouldn't have left it off for 3 hours like I said, but yeah. So I know people get different types, well not different types of carpal tunnel, but different kind of sensations, feelings, pains, all that with carpal tunnel. But like I said, with me, my first main thing was numbness, and then slowly over the time it's come to more numbness and pain. So yeah, I wanted to share my experience because I've had a few questions about why I wear this, because not everybody knows about carpal tunnel, but I also wanted to talk about my experience with it in case people are experiencing the same, like if they get pins and needles in the fingers or lose a bit of sensation in the hand for a little bit. But that's what it is, and it's basically in your wrist. I think it's a muscle. You basically have like a muscle here and a muscle here, and underneath it are your nerves, and basically what happens is this part here can swell. It can, yeah, it can well, basically it can inflame, that's the word I was looking for. And when obviously it inflames, there's nerves underneath it, it puts pressure on them, and like I said, it can then affect it in different ways where you get tingling sensation, pain, anything like that really. But with me, like I said, numbness, and then I get pain, a lot of pain in my thumb here at the bottom, and then in my wrist as well. Actually, my finger doesn't really hurt at all, it just feels weird. It's probably the main thing, and now it's my finger and thumb. It's just weird to do stuff with my finger and thumb like that. Yeah, so that is basically my experience. Like I said, any questions, please comment them down below. Like I said, I am getting my steroid injection next week, which I'm planning on vlogging, so look out for that vlog. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. But I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and I will see you soon.